What is going on, everybody? Man, Micah's back with another video. Back here to talk about the Samsung Galaxy Packed event we just had for the Flip 5 Fold 5 Galaxy Tab S9 series and the Galaxy Watch 6 series. Now here in my hand, of course, this is the Tab S8 Ultra, 16 gigabytes, 512 gigabytes of storage, 16 gigabytes of RAM, that is. And they now dropped a new one with improved internals, and then of course my Galaxy Watch 4 with no watch band. 2 generations old now, with the official reveal of the Galaxy 6 watch series, along with the Classic coming back, which makes me wonder about the Pro. I know they had the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. Is that something that's going to refresh along the S line, meaning come February 2024 we will see a Galaxy Watch 6 Pro or something like that? Because they probably should just call it the Galaxy Watch Pro if it's not going to be in step with the actual watch series. Case in point, the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic. Nice to see the rotating bezels back on that, but again, we'll get into it. The first thing we're going to talk about is the Flip and Fold. So before we do, if you guys haven't already, make sure to like the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so my videos, so that we sit back, check, see what's cracking. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought about the Galaxy Unpacked event. Anything stick out to you? Do you feel like Samsung settled in the in the eyes of some people? I have some thoughts about that for sure. And let me know, just let me know, again, the comment section is open for discussion. Now let's get into it. And I will be using my iPhone, of course, to highlight these features. The first one being the Galaxy Flip 5. The biggest improvement we saw amongst the devices that Samsung showed us today. And really, it was all about the front display or front or cover screen and the hinge. And starting with the hinge, of course, it's more durable, it's a little lighter. They've adjusted the size so that way the Flip now closes almost perfectly. And I think that's a huge advancement for sure, because it just looks better, right? It looks better. It feels like it's more classy, more upstated as opposed to understated in terms of its design and functionality. So I think that's definitely a smart decision by them with the Flip. What else we got? We got the fingerprint sensor, slight tweak in terms of the design and for the button. Before it had like this indent, it was much more flat, but it looks like they may have thinned out the device some as well, and so now it's a thinner power button, but it still allows for the fingerprint sensor. So I noticed that, which was an interesting change. We know the cameras are pretty much unchanged from the Galaxy Flip 4, and that is because those were improved cameras, I believe, over the past 3 generations of cameras we had with the Galaxy Flip and Flip 5G and Flip 3. The Flip 4 finally brought new cameras, and the Flip 5 is now inheriting those, and with the 8 Gen 2 processor from Snapdragon for Galaxy platform, we're going to see better image signal processing out of those cameras that will really bring, you know, more life to the photos that we'll take with the phone. So I thought that was a big deal, and the biggest talking point is that front cover screen, basically taking up the entire front, which I think is a good thing. And I also like the fact that the entire front or top half of the phone is black, while the bottom half of the phone is a specific color. Looks like they're going with gloss. There's a mint color. There's some more exclusives, and it looks like there's some level of bespoke designs going on, but I didn't see it on Samsung's platform website when I went to go check it out. So that's also interesting, but I really like the design element and software concept behind the cover screen that Samsung is providing us, with many different ways to view widgets, our notifications, at a glance widgets. I really like that customization, as well as it looks as though, I don't know who beat who to the punch, but just like you can customize your contact poster and profile picture within iOS 17 on, you know, iOS devices, the front cover screen for the Flip 5 seems to give you the ability to do something similar in terms of really going in on customization for what your picture could be for the cover screen. I think that's pretty cool as well. You can watch YouTube on the cover screen. You can pretty much still use the cover screen as if it's its own phone, and I really dig that a lot. And of course, taking and recording videos and photos with the cover screen is going to be right where it's at. It's almost as if they didn't even need to put a inside or interior, front-facing camera, because you can just use the rear cameras for everything. And, especially if like Zoom and Google Duo works with the cover screen, you really don't have to use the camera on once you unflip the device. So definitely interesting there with the Flip 5. Starts at $1049 for the 256 gig version, and then $1149 for the 512 gigabyte version. It's also noted that I believe some of those exclusive colors for the Flip 5 is more matted than the now basic gloss, standard gloss for retail. So that's also something to keep in mind with the Flip 5. Now going on to the Galaxy Fold 5, it's essentially the same thing. The hinge, again, overhauled for the most part, stronger, more tough, and also allows for the Fold 5 to now close nearly completely flat. Something that we saw Google get right basically the first try, the Microsoft Duo devices get right. So now to see Samsung make their way there is a smart move. Again, I saw the same thing with the fingerprint sensor on the Fold 5. It seems like it's thinner, it's a little change. The cameras seem unchanged. They may have slightly changed the design on the back, but the design of the camera housing, but the cameras are still the same. But again, with those new processors from Snapdragon, we're gonna get better image quality nonetheless. And the price for this starts at $17.99, of course, and it looks like they may have went the matted route with the Fold 5. Here's the thing I like about the Fold 5, and really Samsung's concept behind the Fold, as well as the Flip for that matter. It took them about 4 to 5 generations to really reach that point of confidence and really signaling to us quality assurance by finally bringing us the full cover screen for the Flip 5, but then also flattening out how well the hinge closes for both devices this go around. And I think they're taking a big page out of Apple's playbook, because as much as people don't like or speak against Apple making devices that borderline look the same year over year with minor adjustments, or every few years something a little bit more big, the fact of the matter is people overwhelmingly buy iPhones and they unchanged from a hardware or an exterior hardware perspective. So it shows that people, although it's a speaking point, they really don't care that much. We in the tech world may care, but people in the world don't really care that much. That your average consumer does not care that much about the design of the product that they're buying. That's why Apple has the largest market share amongst phones out in the wild. And I think Samsung adopting that mentality by making sure they get these cuts and corners right, so they don't cut corners when it comes to their devices, when it comes to hardware, it's starting to pay off in that we're getting concrete quality out of their devices, even if it takes 4 to 5 generations to get there. So I think next year with the Fold 6, we're due for a much bigger design change for the Fold 6, perhaps with the S Pen embedded into the body like a Note, or like the Ultra, like the S20 something Ultra. I think we'll see that with the Fold 6. We potentially could see a thinner design out of the Fold 6. And we possibly could see either the removal of the interior camera, because the quality is just terrible, at least from what I've seen. We'll either see the removal of that, or they're gonna actually put their foot in providing a much more technologically advanced under display camera to give us, and we potentially could even get a fingerprint sensor on the inside of the device as well, as opposed to the outside. So I'm curious, but I'm also confident that with the Fold 6, we're gonna see a change with the Fold in particular, and we'll probably see a slightly bigger display for the Flip 6, because as you guys can see, it kind of mimics a folder look. It actually looks like their folder app icon, just like upside down. But I could see that getting even bigger on the outside before we see a drastic change with the Flip series as well. So that's my take on the Flip and the Fold. Let's get to the Galaxy. Well, I didn't even record anything about the Galaxy Watch 6. I didn't really do a lot of, because it's pretty much the same, right? They improved the internals. We get slightly better and bigger batteries for all the sizes of the Galaxy Watch 6 devices. And the Classic is back, which is cool, but only the real main selling point is that the rotating bezel's back, which I don't think is enough of a selling point for, I mean, you can argue it's like basically $50 more for that, considering I believe the Watch 6 starts at $299, and then the Watch 6 Classic is $399. Well, I would imagine that the Watch 6 44 or 45 millimeter, whatever that size is probably $50 more, somewhere around the $329, $339 price point. And then of course, another 50 to 60 bucks jump you up to the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic, which also may in fact be bigger, around 45 to 46 millimeters in size. To me, not that big of a deal. I think I've more or less kind of lost my faith in Samsung's Galaxy watches. Not to say that they're bad, I actually find them quite good. I like the rounded look. Me personally, I've always liked the square look. I just happen to not have or own any square watches, and the Apple Watch is more endearing to me because of the design that Apple has adopted. With the Galaxy Watch 4, as you guys saw, with no watch band that I showed you guys earlier in the video, it's cool, I like it, but I think in ways they may have overstepped the boundaries in terms of size. Granted, it's a 44 millimeter, and with those lugs, it really kind of pushes it much closer to probably 50 mil. I probably should shoot for the smaller size, but I'm sacrificing battery life in that way. And I think that Samsung didn't do a good enough job this time around, really giving us something to awe at with the Galaxy Watch 6 series. This is where they could have potentially changed the design a little bit, because it has basically been the same since the Galaxy Watch 4. So this will be the third year, and there could have been a little bit more change in terms of the watch. And I arguably feel the same way about the Apple Watch series as well, but Apple does more of a good job with subtle changes and improvements to the roundness of the display and the screen quality. So even there's a little bit more wiggle room where it seems like Apple might try a little bit harder with the Apple Watch series than Samsung does with the Galaxy Watch series. It is nice to see more tech come to it, but I was not that impressed with the Galaxy Watch 6 series this time around, including the Classic. But now let's get to the Galaxy Tab S9. This is the device that I think went over people's heads, and that's primarily because Samsung themselves didn't spend enough time on it. They spent an abundance amount of time on the Flip and Fold. They should have spent more time on this device. And let's just start with the stats, right? We're gonna go with the universal stats. They brought dust and water resistance to wow, to tablets. Definitely a smart idea by them to do that, because it's a differentiating factor for people to truly consider. Because now, think about it, most people probably use their tablets in the kitchen. Some might surprisingly take it out to the pool, or if they have a personal pool, they may take it to the pool, watch content while they're out there, or use it for their playlist, for music. So when you think about dust and water resistance and the amount of time it could spend outdoors or near water, that was a perfect opportunity, and they seized it by adding that to the Tab S9 series across the board. Smart move, Samsung. The other thing, of course, is the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy platform is now here with the Galaxy Tab S9, which means we're going to get an improvement across the board in terms of performance, graphical prowess, you know what I'm saying, machine learning, AI type stuff, all that. It's going to be truly wonderful from that perspective. 120 hertz adaptive display across the board. The S Pen is always included. Thank you, Samsung. And they still kept the micro SD card slot expansion up to 1 terabyte, which is also smart. There's something else I was trying to think of, but I couldn't. Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 6E is across the board. They brought their advanced vapor cooling chamber and heat dissipation system from the Galaxy S23 Ultra and maybe the S22 Ultra to the Tab S9 series. So now we get way better cooling and heat dissipation or heat management. So that way, if we're doing harder tasks like gaming or in my case video editing, we will be able to maintain that, which is also very, very good. And then the cameras are all the same, but of course the new chip allows for better processing. But I mean, the iPad Pros have tremendous cameras, which is crazy to say for a tablet. Samsung could definitely at least step up from that perspective, only because I know that sometimes there might be something you need to shoot real quick, and you actually can't rely on the Galaxy tablets to give you a good enough image for anything. Whereas with the iPad, from what I've seen, you can. So that's where I see a little bit of, okay, the camera should at least be decent for the tablet. One UI 5.1.1, it launches. It does launch with the tablets, so that's a slight step up, leading us into One UI 6 later this year. And then no updates on any other video editing software coming to Android. LumaFusion is still the only one. From what I've seen, it's still in beta, which is a little weird because, well, I guess it's not, considering it came out like, what, a few months ago. So it's not that weird that LumaFusion is still in beta, but it is still in beta nonetheless. We didn't get anything for DaVinci, we didn't get anything for Adobe Premiere. So I wish we would have got a little bit more flexibility from that standpoint. As it stands, LumaFusion is still video editing king on the Android platform, and hopefully that gets improved also with this Galaxy Tab S9, specifically the Ultra. And then with the new chip, and hopefully RAM management makes it a whole lot more smooth experience using LumaFusion with the Tab S9. Now, if we want to start with the Tab S9 in particular, it's 11-inch AMOLED screens across the board now. So 11, 12.4, and 14.6 all have tremendously fantastic, phenomenal Super AMOLED displays. The price starts at $799, and that's pretty much it for the Tab S9. Tab S9 Plus, very short, 12.4 inch. The battery life on the Tab S9 is 8,400 milliamps as well. The Tab S9 Plus, 12.4 inch, 10,900 milliamp size battery, starts at $999, or basically $1,000. And then the RAM. So with the Tab S9, RAM starts at 8 gigs of RAM with 128 gigabytes of storage, and it maxes out at 12 gigs of RAM with 256 or 512 gigs of storage. So they're playing us on RAM to storage ratio this year. As I stated, my Tab S8 Ultra is 12 gigs of RAM, no, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. Check this out as we move forward. The Tab S9 Plus, 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs or 512 gigs of storage. Tab S9 Ultra, 14.6 inch, 11,200 milliamp battery. Now 16 gigs got moved to the 1 terabyte model. So it's 12 gigabytes of RAM for 256 or 512, 16 gigs of RAM for the 1 terabyte model. I think that hurt a little bit. I do like the double, like the max storage now coming up to 1 terabyte. You know, iPads offer up to 2 terabytes with the Pro series. The Tab S9 Ultra offers 1 terabyte, but it's unfortunate to see that now you have to pay even for the RAM, which maybe makes me think we'll get an additional benefit out of hopefully UFS 4.0 storage to, help us in that department, considering it came with the Galaxy S23 Ultra. And they also said they revamped the USB-C port without adding size to the Tab S9 series, so that's also good to hear. And then the notch on the Ultra looks like it's arguably a little bit smaller as well, so it's also nice to see that. And it's crazy, I have a 14.6 inch size tablet, and it is big looking over there, but the way I've seen framing of the tablet in a few different videos, it looks even bigger. So it just shows you it's basically a 2-in-1 laptop, and I think it is worth the money if you use it for what it's purpose for, which is a more heavier workflow. If you're just doing emails, you don't do video editing, you don't do a lot of gaming, and even if you did, you probably don't need the 14.6 inch size. Go for the 12.4 inch. And then if you don't even do gaming like that on your tablet, get the 11 inch. At least you don't have to worry about sacrificing screen size. You can get it at a better price, and you can still get a keyboard cover for it, I believe. And you can still get everyday workflow functions done on that tablet. You don't need to scale up like some of us would for the heavier, intense workflows. So those are my thoughts. in terms of the Galaxy Unpacked event. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought about it. Any of this stuff stand out to you? Any specific model, specific RAM to storage size? Are you planning on grabbing yourself one of these new devices? The comment section is open for discussion. But again, as always, if you guys haven't already, make sure to like the like button, subscribe to the channel, notification bell so with my videos. So always sit back, relax, see what's cracking. But your man Micah signing out to the next video. Wait for